Good morning, Year 4. This is Edward Smith here. Hope you had a lovely weekend and you're all ready for another week of fun-packed learning. Now, I'm really excited to tell you about this week's focus because it's all about this picture, but it's not just about the picture. We've been asked by the photographer of the photo to write a story based on this picture. They've made a start but wanted the rest of the story to go with it. So our focus this week is looking at narrative. Now I just want you to pause the video for a second and I want you to have a look at that picture. What can you see? What do you think is happening? Just a little bit of prediction. So pause the video, you can make notes, you can have a conversation with someone else in the room, or you can just have a think. Off you go. Okay, we should have some ideas. Now we've got a house, or part of a house, that's on the edge of a cliff here. And we've got the other part of a house that's over there as well. Now we've got lots of broken ice and snow all in this area. We've got some little trees floating away as well. So, let's find out. Our I can today is I can infer meaning using evidence from the text. Now, can you remember what the word inference means? Yes, inference is where you pick up clues from the text, or you pick up clues from what you can see and then form a conclusion, but you back it up, you make sure you use evidence for your opinions. Okay, and that's our focus for today. I was woken up in the middle of the night. Well, I'm guessing it was the middle of the night, as I felt like I'd been asleep for hours and it was pitch black outside. The sound I heard made me want to quickly cover my ears and try to drown it out in any way I could. It sounded like a tree was slowly being torn apart by giants, or as if the gods above were screaming at each other loudly in wild rage. My heart almost leapt out of my chest, and I couldn't control the shaking that seemed to be taking over my whole body. I wanted to know what was going on, yet I was extremely fearful of what that might actually be. I really needed my mum. I called her name, Mum, but nothing. Finally, I clambered out of bed and tiptoed towards my door. Unusually, I had to hold onto the walls to steady myself, as I felt like I could collapse at any moment. My feet were not just met with the soft, warm carpet like they usually were, but also by a freezing, almost ice-like chill. What on earth was going on? First I thought maybe there was a problem with the heating. I mean, the boiler could just have broken, which would explain the noises, and also the cold on my feet. Logically though, would it turn so cold so quickly? So many thoughts were racing through my mind. None of them seemed to make any sense though. I just had to get to the door and open it to find out for myself. Nervously, I reached out and turned the handle. Beyond the door, there was nothing. I mean, the rest of my house was not there. It had gone. I slowly looked up and saw more. In fact, I saw the other half of my home, the part with my mum in, somewhere across the water. Mom! I screamed as loudly as I could, but nothing. No response. I seemed to be drifting further and further away from it. Again I screamed, both with despair and with frustration. Julie, come back! Came a voice from across the water, but there was nothing I could do. Nothing at all. My heart sank. I was alone. No one there to help me or to save me. I knew I had to be strong. Wow, what an opening to the story that is. What an exciting yet terrifying day for that girl. Now, first thing we're going to look at is any vocab we're not sure of. So our vocab lab section. So, pitch black. Do you know what pitch black means? Okay, it could mean that it is very dark, extremely black. Think of sometimes when it's night time, you can see with the street lights, or you might be able to see a little bit of light in the distance. When it's pitch black, there is nothing. You cannot see anything at all. The next one, extremely fearful. Now, extremely fearful means very scared. You're very scared of what might actually happen or what might be there. Next one, clambered. Now I'm guessing quite a few clamber out of bed sometimes on a morning. Do you know what that means? Clambering kind of is like you're struggling, like you're not doing it delicately, you're not happily jumping out of bed because you're so excited, you're a bit jumpy, you're a bit uncomfortable, you're grabbing onto things to try and get out of bed. It's not a happy movement, it's a struggling movement. The next one, logically though. Now in the word logically, you've got the word logical. Does anybody know what the word logical means? Okay, logically though means almost sensibly, using what you know about facts. So she's thought that it wouldn't turn cold so quickly if the boiler had just broken. So using a bit of common sense and using a bit of understanding of the world around you to help you form a conclusion. Further down, we've got the word drifting. Now, what does drifting mean? Drifting means floating. So if you're floating further away, drifting further away, you're doing that slowly. Next one, my heart sank. Now, sometimes your heart might sink if you want to go out on the playground at break time and it's raining a lot, or your heart might sink if you go to have your lunch and you open it and your juice has gone everywhere. It means you're very disappointed, you're a little bit upset about something. And the last sentence, I knew I had to be strong. What do you think that could mean? I knew I had to be strong. Well, that could mean that actually, even though she's very scared and never been in this situation before, she had to forget about that and she had to move on and almost think about what she had to do rather than what she wanted to do, what she felt she needed to do. Okay. If there are any other words you don't understand, you can always use a dictionary or you can Google to find out what the word means. Okay. Our key features. What do you think some of those key features are? You may have just got a quick preview as I clicked on the next slide by mistake. But what things really stick out to you that we might be learning this week? I want you to pause the video and I want you to have a think, so have a look at your text. What could the key features be of our narrative this week? So pause the video now. Okay, so we should have got some key features. You may have underlined them, you may have listed them, you may have highlighted them in the text. So let's have a look all together. In yellow, I've got quickly, slowly, loudly, actually, extremely. What kind of words are those? They are adverbs. So one of our focuses is going to be adverbs this week. The next bit, I've got mom, I've got mom, I've got Julie come back. What are those examples of? Yeah, they're examples of speech. And we're going to be having a look at speech in one of our lessons too. And then something else you may have picked up on. What on earth was going on? Logically though, was it turned so cold so quickly? Can you remember what kind of sentences they are? They are rhetorical questions. That means they don't need somebody to answer them. It's almost like the author's or that person's thought process. Sometimes we talk to ourselves quite a lot. Why did you drop that on the floor? You don't need somebody else to answer that. You're almost trying to have a conversation with yourself, trying to understand yourself. So that's not something we're going to focus on as a lesson, but it's something that I'd like you to be aware of this week. Now you might have also found a variety of conjunctions, you may have found fronted adverbials, you may have found prepositions, you may have found first person, past tense. There are lots of other features in there too. So let's go back to our learning for today. So, Monday the 18th of January, I can infer meaning using evidence from the text. So let's look at our keys to success. Read the question carefully. You really do need to double check what that question is asking you to do. Locate the section in the text. So where you think the answer might be, have a look. Answer the question using a full sentence. Explain further if needed using because, so add a bit more detail, and use the text to support your answers. These are things that we should be quite familiar with now, because that's what we focus on whenever we do a comprehension type lesson. So let's have a look at this first one. Read the question carefully. Why did her heart almost leap out of her chest? So I'm trying to find out why her heart leapt out of her chest. So I've done that one. Locate the section in the text. I've got it here. Now let's have a look. My heart almost leapt out of my chest and I couldn't control the shaking that seemed to be taking over her body. Right, I found it. Why? Why was her heart leaping out of her chest? Now it doesn't tell me in that sentence. I need to read a little bit earlier. I was woken up in the middle of the night. The sound I heard, she heard a sound, made me want to quickly cover my ears and drown it out. So her heart almost leapt out of her chest because she heard a sound, and it was an unusual sound because it sounded like a tree was slowly being torn apart by giants, or if the gods were screaming at each other. So I can use the text and I can explain that in my answer. So let's have a go. I'm going to try really carefully today not to thud, thud, thud on my keyboard, but you never know. So her heart almost leapt out of her chest because she was scared. She heard an unusual noise which sounded like, let's have a look in the text again, sounded like a tree was slowly being torn apart, which sounded like a tree was slowly being torn apart. What was the other bit? Or as if the gods were screaming at each other. Or as if the gods were screaming at each other. Okay, let's double check my keys to success. I've read the question carefully. Tick. I've located the section in the text. Yeah, it's there. Tick. I've answered the question using a full sentence. Now I know it's a full sentence because I've got some of the question in my answer. Her heart almost leapt out of her chest because. Explain further using because she was scared. I've explained why. Then using the text to support my answer. Yes, there's my explanation, telling the reader what the sound was that made her scared. Okay. Your questions for today. Give 2 reasons as to how she knew it was the middle of the night. What did she want to do when she heard the noise and why? What did she think the noise sounded like and why? How did she feel when she heard the noise? Use the text to support your answer. Who did she need to help her and why do you think she wanted this person? Why did she have to hold onto the walls? What was unusual when she stepped out of bed? What did she first think had happened and why did she decide it couldn't be that? What did she see when she first opened her bedroom door and how do you think that made her feel? Use the text to support your answer. Why did her mom not reply when she called her? Again, use the text to support your answer. What was the girl's name? Why did her heart sink? Use the text to support your answer. What do you think is meant by the phrase, I knew I had to be strong? Now, we discussed this a little bit earlier on, didn't we? Find an example of a rhetorical question. Give examples of 3 different adverbs. Now, in your folder on Teams, you will have a document that says questions, and that's your normal questions. You will have a sheet that says questions scaffold, and they're the ones that have got the sentence stems to help you. Okay? You've also got then comprehension answers. So once you've completed these questions, you can mark them yourself. You can read the answers and you can tick them. Now, some of your answers might be phrased slightly differently, but as long as it is similar, then that is absolutely fine. So what I want you to do now is pause the video, and have a go at the comprehension questions. Off you go. Okay, hopefully we have completed that. Well done to you. Now, tomorrow you're going to be writing the same story as if you were Julie's mom. So remember, Julie was on one side over here and Julie's mom was in the house over there. I just want you to have a think. How would she be feeling? What do you think would wake her up? Would she be with Julie's dad or brother? What do you think he will look like? Jot down some words or phrases that can help you. So just some ideas that will help you with tomorrow's learning. Just getting a bit of feeling of the character of Julie and also what she might be going through as well. Okay? Right, so until tomorrow, have a good day. Bye.